What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Good evening. Well, it's evening where I am. It is 7:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, January the 20th, 2025. My name's Dave McRae, coming to you live from the WOLFMAN studios in Toronto, Canada. This is episode 308 of McRae Live, and tonight we are talking WOLFMAN. WOLFMAN. 2025's WOLFMAN, directed by Leigh Whannell, who of course directed Insidious 3, which was way better than it had any right being. Upgrade, The Invisible Man from 2020, I believe, which was a terrific film. And he's back with WOLFMAN. Have you seen it? Did you see it? We're going to be talking about the movie today. Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the movie, then, and you don't want anything spoiled for you, then I would not watch the show today. That's just the, I mean, watch the show eventually. Go watch the movie and then watch the show. But if you don't care about those kinds of things, well, then stick around because, yeah, we're going to talk about it. I went and saw it last night in IMAX. And I'm going to tell you what I thought of it. Should be a good one. Now, I made a poll over on my community section, and the poll was, do you think I liked WOLFMAN? Vote below and find out tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Do you think I liked WOLFMAN? And so far on the poll, I'm going to bring it up here in a second. So far on the poll, 341 of you have voted. 341 of you have voted. Let's go over to the other screen. This is the poll right here. Do you think I liked WOLFMAN? 341 of you have voted. 29% say yes. I think you really enjoyed it, Dave. 71% say no. Why on earth would 71% of people think I didn't like it? 71%. Why is it that high? I'm shocked. Is it because I asked the question and you guys felt, well, he wouldn't have asked the question. It's a trick question. He's got to be disappointed by it. 341 people. 29% say, I think you enjoyed it. 71%. That is a landslide victory for those who, now it could also be too, there's probably people in here that genuinely think maybe I didn't like it. There's also people that have probably seen the movie and didn't like it and voted in the 71% because they're hoping that I too didn't like it. So maybe they're just voting with their hopes and their dreams. So what is the answer? Did I like it or did I not like it? WOLFMAN 2025, directed by Leigh Whannell. Well, I am sorry to disappoint the 71% of you, but I really enjoyed the film. And I am not surprised at the same time when you understand the movie sphere and the movie landscape and the hyperbole and just the hyperbolic nature of fandom. But I am surprised it is getting as negative reviews as it is from fans that are saying things like, it's a piece of shit. It's the biggest pile of crap I've seen. It's boring. It's a humongous letdown. It's a snooze fest. I'm like, what the hell are you on? What kind of crack are you guys smoking? What are you talking about? Now, Is it as good as The Invisible Man? Well, first of all, this is art. So there is no right or wrong answer here. I mean, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But, you know, for anybody, and again, I don't know if age plays a factor or what, but anybody who thinks Wolfman from 2025 is a catastrophic dumpster fire has never seen a catastrophic dumpster fire. I'm sorry. You don't have to like it. Maybe it didn't work for you. Maybe you were disappointed. Maybe your expectations for whatever reason were through the roof. But to say Wolfman is a catastrophic, epic failure dumpster fire just tells me you've never seen a dumpster fire and you have to watch more movies. I'm sorry, folks. I really like this movie. Now, did I like it as much as The Invisible Man? No, I did not. But I quite enjoyed the film. Now, could it also be because I am not emotionally attached to the Universal monster movies like some people are? Could it be because although I really like An American Werewolf in London, I am not like, say, somebody like Darren Sands from The Slaughtered Lamb. It's one of his favorite movies of all time. Oh my God, it's you know what I'm saying? There are certain fans that love these kinds of movies and are very particular. And if you don't, if you don't fucking know, you know what I'm saying? They exist. Now, funny enough, I spoke to Darren today and he quite enjoyed it too. He'll have more to say on that on his own channel. But I went in. So again, I am not emotionally attached to the lore or the mythology or the rules of this thing. If you know, you can't, Wolf, it has to be like this. It's got to look like this. It's got to be like this. You got to do this. If you don't do that, you're going to all that kind of stuff. So I just went in, sat down, and was like, all right, show me what you got. I quite like Leigh Whannell as a filmmaker and as a director. Like I said, Insidious Chapter 3 was way better than it had any right being. I mean, Chapter 3, Upgrade was fantastic. The Invisible Man was terrific. And this movie was very good. Now, before I tell you what I like and what I didn't like, let me start by saying, let's start actually here. Let's start with, and again, spoiler alert, obviously, but let's start with the transformation, right? The transformation. I've been reading that there are some people that feel that they didn't like the transformation. It didn't go, I'm paraphrasing, but, they're saying things like it didn't go as far as it needed to. It wasn't, wolfy enough. It wasn't werewolfy enough. It wasn't dog-like enough. It wasn't, I wanted a werewolf. I wanted and tearing people out. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what some people are like, right? And so I thought that, or I read that, and I looked up and I thought to myself, well, hang on a sec. Is there a difference between a werewolf and a wolfman? Because sometimes these things are tossed around interchangeably, right? But is there a difference? And so I was doing some reading. Now, I'm no expert, but I was doing some reading, and sure enough, there's quite a few people that say, yes, there is. There's a big difference between a werewolf and a wolfman, and I wonder if there are some people that went into Wolfman expecting werewolf. And now, again, sometimes these things can be tossed around interchangeably, but I sat there and I thought to myself as I was reading sort of some of the differences, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but some of the differences, for example, with a werewolf, obviously, there's a transformation that happens and they transform into werewolf, but also back into human being, back into werewolf, back into human being. Werewolves tend to be more dog, like more of the what you would like An American Werewolf in London, right? Maybe they're bipedal, but maybe they come down, and they're on all fours and they got that long snout, very wolf, very dog, very canine, they're howling at the moon. Oh, You know what I'm saying? The moon cycle plays heavily into, their transformation of their identity and all this kind of stuff. And, so I'm reading about this. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. Whereas Wolfman, on the other hand, Wolfman is more humanoid. Wolfmen over the years tend to be a little more humanoid. They tend, they look like it. I mean, they look like they have the essence of that, kind of jaw, maybe that face a little bit, something like that. A little bit of fang going on, but they tend to be a little more humanoid. Like even the Universal monster, the old school Wolfman movie from years and years ago was more humanoid than dog, right? Than canine. I mean, he had that face, that face and the hair and everything, but he was more, teen wolf. He's more Michael J. Fox than like an American Werewolf in London, right? And so, I was reading about this and I thought, I wonder if some people went into this maybe expecting more an American Werewolf in London, because that is, arguably that is the litmus test. That is the creme de la creme, that is the gold standard. That is like the one of, if not the most iconic werewolf, wolfman, wolf, movie of all time, right? And so you're always kind of, there's a Wolfman film. I'm going to, I don't know. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm asking those questions too, because it was very clear to me that I was okay with it. I was totally okay with what they presented to me in terms of Wolfman, Wolfman. Right. So it made sense to me. I wasn't taken out of it that it didn't look more canine dog with a long snout and, that kind of thing. I was totally okay with it. I thought the makeup effects were great. I really liked the slow burn transformation, how it was depicted more of like a disease, right? You've heard people talk about that. I really liked that. Me and my slow burns. And I really like that they drew that out. Very effective. And watching sort of this insidious, no pun intended on the word insidious, obviously, Leigh Whannell being one of the creators of the Insidious franchise, and being in it, of course, and directing 3. But the insidious nature of that downfall of watching him sort of, succumb to the inevitability of becoming Wolfman. So I quite like that. That didn't bother me that, some people say, well, we didn't get enough of it, again, because I think people want, I don't know if people were expecting, like, again, werewolf, and like tearing through the town and all these deaths and 38 people killed. And I don't know. I'm just saying that when I read some of the, it was a fucking catastrophic dumpster fire of epic proportions, I'm just like, oh, well, I guess we were like on completely different opposite ends of the spectrum of what we were expecting from this movie. So anyways, I really like that. So I like the look. The look didn't bother me. I quite like the look. Very much like The Fly. I've heard, some people talk about, Jeff Goldblum's The Fly, right? And it's a tragic love story in a lot of ways, although we'll get to the love characters in a moment. But there was sort of that, again, that insidious transformation. There's a tragedy here in a lot of ways. So I quite like that. That didn't bother me. The cinematography, of course, outstanding. The sound design is terrific. The cinematography is great. I will say this, and this might have been an issue for some of you out there as well. My theater was a bit dark. And although it is a dark film, and it's very clear that Leigh Whannell is doing what I love, which is playing in those shadows, those deep blacks. The blacks are black. You know what I'm saying? He wants to play in those shadows so you don't really know what's there and what's in the corners and all that kind of stuff. Again, that's how moving forward in my career, that's how I will always handle horror movies for me, because I love that kind of thing. Again, if you've watched my 2 Billy films, you will notice a similar thing where we like to play in the shadows and make the blacks quite deep. And that's on purpose. So I quite like that he did this here as well. However, It is a known thing that a lot of theaters around the world, to save money, will dim their projector bulbs. And because if the projectors, if the bulbs are firing at the luminance, we'll say that they're supposed to, they tend to burn out faster, and projector bulbs are not cheap. And a lot of theaters will dim their bulbs to save bulb life. And although I understand that, it's incredibly frustrating. And I can tell you right now, as a filmmaker, if I knew that my movie was not being seen in the ways that it kind of should be, I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, I could turn it up a little bit. Like, it's still dark, but turn it up a little bit. Now, maybe it's not so bad with horror movies, because when you can get away with it more in horror films, right? Because when things are a bit darker, that's kind of okay sometimes too, depending on, what is, it can work. But with all movies, that's not necessarily the case. Anyway, I know some people have said it was very dark. I do think Wolfman is a dark film. I can just tell. And when you watch the trailers online, you can tell. But there's a difference between seeing the trailers and then watching the movie in the theater. It's a bit darker. It's a bit dimmer. And so that's kind of annoying, but whatever. It is what it is. This is a common thing that theaters are doing now, but they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. You're not getting your full money's worth, really, if you think about it. It may be a bit nitpicky, but it's true. Anyway, the cinematography is great, and love Leigh Whannell's horror directing sensibilities, and the sound design, obviously being a big sound guy, love that. Love the way they use, again, shadow and those deep blacks, and the accident was great with the truck on its side, and just being in the woods and in the environment. Like, you really feel, even if you were to watch it at home with not a dimmed projector bulb, I can still tell that, again, the environment they're creating, those blacks, the darkness, they're really playing into the ominous woods, the darkness, the not being able to see around corners, what's over there. I love it. Absolutely fantastic. Even the daytime shots, at the beginning of the movie, the scenery is absolutely beautiful. Although it's supposed to be Oregon, in the United States, I believe it was New Zealand. I think they shot it in New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken, but I stand to be corrected. But just beautiful nonetheless. So the cinematography is fantastic. Great cinematography. Again, my kind of, like, it's dripping with mood and atmosphere, right? So it's got that Dave McRae thing going on. You know what I mean? If I ever have the opportunity to have, a budget like Wolfman, those are the kinds of, you can expect that kind of tone from me, whatever it is that, I'm doing. Because I think it's just, that's what horror movies are all about, right? Are those edge of seat, like feeling it. I want to feel the environment. I want to feel the setting, feel the darkness, feel the coldness. Love that kind of stuff. I really love too that when they sort of are creating this sense of normalcy. Of course, they're in the truck. They picked up that guy, which I love the way they did that, where he's in the tower and he's silhouetted. And it's just kind of like, what's this? Again, there's no stinger there, right? That goes back to the beginning of the movie as well, when the young guy, you were seeing him as a kid, when he looks through the scope, and the scope is moving all around, and you see the Wolfman, or a Wolfman, because obviously the virus is passed on. But you see the Wolfman from 95, that kid or that guy that went missing. You see him for just a split second. But what I love about this is, again, the way they lit it, the way they color corrected the whole scene, the way that it's for a brief moment, and there's no musical stinger. There's no stinger. It's just the environment, the elements, the wood sounds, the creaking of the wood, the branches, and you just see it. And it's just like, oh, what was that? Yes. That's what I'm talking. I would have done the exact same thing. I would not have had a stinger there. Not at all. And there's an argument to be made that so many movies would have, right? And so, because you don't need it. Let the moment breathe. Let it just, it's spooky. It's spooky and eerie on its own, and it feels more real, because that's how it would be. I mean, if you were out there looking through a scope and you saw something weird, there would not be like this coming from the trees, you know, to make you go, oh, what was that? You know what I'm saying? It feels more real life. Now, again, that doesn't mean that, you know, stingers and musical cues for, you know, to help with the jump kind of scare are not important. They absolutely are. But you have to know when to use them and when it's completely unnecessary to use them. And in fact, it's way more effective if you don't use it here, but way more effective if you use it over here, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I like that. I thought that was great. And so jumping ahead now to when they're in the car, and they see that, or in the truck, and they see that guy in the, you know, in the tower. Same thing, right? It's just eerie. It's just creepy. Is he looking at us? Is he looking away from us? Is he, who is that? Like, it's just eerie. You just see the silhouette of a person, clearly, you know, the silhouette of a gun. Love that. Again, there's no need. Just let the moment breathe, let it go. Love it. Thought it was great. So at this point, like, you know, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I really like this movie so far. Like, so far, so good. I have no issues. Like, I don't have any, well, that's not true. There's one thing. We'll talk about that. But anyway, to make a long story short, you know, I love when they're in the truck and they build this conversation out. It's quiet. There's no music, just the hum of the engine, the road, the dimly lit cab, you know, with all the light, you know, it's dark outside and all, and it's a sleight of hand thing, right? The narrative, you're already on edge, right? Because as an audience, right, you're on edge because you know that something might happen, whatever. But what they do is they make you think the guy in the tower is going to be somebody, so you're on edge. He's nobody. He gets in the car or in the truck, you know, you're okay, you're on edge, you're driving. They draw it out long enough to make you feel comfortable, right? And it's a trick, right? It's like a magic trick, right? And they draw it out just enough, and then they hit you, right? And that's what makes you jump. And they hit you with the Wolfman in the road, and they go off the road and everything. And that whole sequence was fantastic. I thought it was great. And I like how he got infected. I like that it just happened to be a swipe through the window, and we don't know that he was actually hit. We thought maybe it was just glass that got in. We don't know until later. But everything, like, I loved how, again, the blacks are black, they're deep, the darks are dark, they go up to the house, love the transformation. I really like when he begins to transform, and I love how they handled the spider scene. Because at first, you think he's hearing some sort of clanking and bumping and thumping and, you know, whatever the case is. And when he walks up to the room and he opens that door and he sees that tarantula, essentially, and we see that it's actually the sounds of the tarantula's, you know, legs. Boom, 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 boom. I sat in the theater and I gave an audible to myself, but out loud, I was like, oh, fuck, that's brilliant. That's so smart. You know, because he's transforming into a dog. He's transforming into a wolf, right? And I'm pretty sure, I think it's cats, because cats don't have quite the nose and the ears that, or not, maybe they have better ears. I can't remember. Cats, like a dog's scent is like, I don't know, 20 times a human, right? And a cat scent is like 15 times a human or something. And their hearing is kind of the same. And so dogs, like, their hearing is incredible. Their scent is incredible. And so now whether it actually would be that potent, I don't know. But to communicate it to the audience was very effective in communicating that. And I thought it was brilliant. I thought, oh, of course, it makes sense. He's transforming into a dog, right? So he's going to start hearing things that we wouldn't hear, but it's so potent to him because he hears those things. What the fuck was that? I've heard fuck, whatever the case is, right? Like even Veda, my cat, she'll be like, she'll be doing this, or I'm like, I don't smell anything. She'll be lying on my lap on the couch and she'll perk up. She'll look outside, she'll look out and I'm like, I hear fuck all. I don't hear anything. And she'll be like this and she's looking around, she's hearing, I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, I'll hear two people outside walking, oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know. She heard that. She heard that 5 minutes ago. When they might have been like, 100 yards away. I mean, it's incredible. I don't think we understand how, especially dogs, of course, but cats, dog, whatever. I don't think we understand how incredible their senses really are and how muted ours really are in comparison. So I really loved that. I thought that was brilliant. I loved the way that Winnell decided to communicate, the different worlds, right? Again, stylized, but very effective to communicate because again, when we see it from his perspective, the virus is taking over, but he's becoming a dog, right? And dogs, again, animals don't understand English. What they understand is pitch and tone, the tone of words, they understand English in the sense of they know that walk like that, you do that, it's the training, it's the what's called classical conditioning, right? You train, walk, they know what that means, right? They know the voice, the pitches, the tones. That's why you can say to your dog, "You're such a fucking idiot. You're such a stupid little idiot. You're a piece of shit." And your dog's going to go, oh, it's going to think, you know what I mean? Because they don't understand the language. They just understand pitches and tones, and cats are similar, right? And they understand that. And so it was really cool to see that transformation, to see him hearing his wife and his kid, but it's gibberish, right? He's just hearing pitches and tones, and because that's what it would. Now, part of that obviously is to communicate how much of the virus is taking hold, but he's still a dog, and that's how it would be, right? Like it wouldn't, that's how it would be. It would be exactly like that. You wouldn't hear English, like you wouldn't understand the English language is what I'm trying to say, right? And they wouldn't be able to intellectualize and consciously understand, and reason with, like, it's why you can't reason with animals, right? Anyway, I digress. Sorry, I'm not trying to sound all, pretentious. I just find this really cool. I found a really cool thing that he did. So I don't mean to, come across as condescending if I, do. I know a lot of people know this, of course. I got excited because I was like, that's a really cool way of showing what he's seeing, what they're seeing. Love that. Loved when they're in the basement, right? And of course, animals, dogs, cats can see really well at night. And so I loved how they communicated that he can see them clearly, but they can't see him. Love that. Like, it's creepy. It's eerie. I thought that was very effective. And of course, this is all being done through the slow burn and the downfall of his slow, insidious decay into becoming the Wolfman, right? Even though there's a Wolfman already out there, right? I figured it was his father, and it ended up being his dad, of course. When they said his dad has been missing and he's been, declared dead, I was like, oh, it's probably his dad. The Wolfman got his dad. And I thought that was smart. I thought that was cool when he ended up killing his dad. And, there was kind of some poetic justice there in some ways, I guess. But I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, he kind of takes over, right? I thought the fight between them was really cool because that's like two dogs, two wolves, going at it. And he's not quite fully transformed yet, that he's protecting his family as a dog would, right? He's still protecting his family, doing what he said to his daughter that he would do. And so, like, again, I mean, it's all like, I had no issues, all with great cinematography and mood and eeriness and the one location and like, I had no issues with this. I'm surprised, but not surprised. Again, I think people wanted their Wolfman to be more an American, where I think they wanted Wolfman, the transformation, to be more werewolf. I think at the end of the day, I think they wanted less man and more wolf, really, is what I think they wanted. And I think they wanted more carnage, more, and I'm purely speculating. I'm not saying everybody was like that. I'm just saying in a general sense, what I'm seeing online from people commenting, just, your average moviegoer, I think they just wanted more, kills more. They wanted the transformation earlier. They didn't want like this kind of thing. It just wasn't the movie they wanted. It wasn't the movie that they were expecting. But for me, for somebody who loves the nuances and those slow burns and taking your time and really building it out, I thought it was really cool. And again, very much like The Fly in a lot of ways. There's some parallels there. So I quite enjoyed that. Let me just see. I had some notes here. I want to make sure that I mentioned everything. I mean, there's probably a few things I haven't mentioned yet, but overall, those were some of the highlights and the main points I wanted to mention. But I will say, okay, so what didn't I like about it? Well, I don't know if it's something I didn't like about it. I'll just say that one of the issues that I saw from some of the people commenting about the movie. And I can understand this. Because I felt a little bit of it too. And that was, I'm not going to go as far as to say the acting, but I will say that I think the acting was fine. I think the performances were very good overall. But I think what some people might be feeling is missing from Wolfman is a connection to our main characters. When we're first introduced to our characters, they're already in a very sort of emo, my life is shit, our relationship is shit sort of state. And so we don't really see them in love. And we don't get to see that downfall, that tragedy, right? It's tragic no matter what, but we don't really get to see the tragedy of the downfall. They're already sort of, even though they live together, you already kind of get this sense that they're, that they're estranged in some ways. There's not a lot of love. I don't really feel the love, even when our lead is with I forget his name now, is with his daughter. You get kind of a sense that he's a bit anal, maybe. He's a bit high strung. We find out why. When the wife comes home and when they're having dinner and even when he says, my dad's been declared dead, and she says, oh, I'm sorry. It feels more brother-sister. And even then that's a stretch. So I can understand that I think I don't think we feel, generally speaking, I think maybe some moviegoers are having trouble connecting to the characters and really feeling for the characters so they could root for the characters, so that when shit hits the fan and this man is taken from his daughter and this man is taken from his wife, you really feel it. You really feel the loss. You really feel and see the pain in her eyes and the pain in her, oh my God, no, I love you. Oh my God, no. You really feel that. You don't really feel that. It is I will say this, that the characters, our main characters, are cold. There's a cold thing about them, and that's from the beginning we're introduced to them to the moment that she's professing her love for him. I don't know if I believe it. I think as an audience member, I don't, when she's there, of course, he doesn't understand her because he's already into that dog state. And when we see it from his perspective, it's just, oh, I mean, that's what he's seeing, or what he's hearing. So he's not hearing it. But when we are on her side and we see her saying it, it feels weird. I do. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way, but there is a coldness to the characters. There's a coldness to them and a coldness to their dynamic and their relationship. So in that sense, maybe there are some people that, again, I'm just speaking like the average moviegoer, that maybe they're just like, yeah, I just didn't like it. It wasn't crazy. And if they heard me say that, they might go, yes, that's it. That's what it was. I knew there was something about it. I mean, it was cool. It was cool. Like, it was creepy but it was just something I couldn't, yes, that's it. I just couldn't care about, I couldn't really connect in the ways that I bet you there's some people that are going to hear me say that and go, yes, that's what it is. And maybe I've been able to kind of bring it to the forefront, right? And then there might be some people that absolutely already know that and are just gonna be like, that's it. Yeah, totally. I will say that for me, that is probably, I hate to say it for the, because I know on my poll here, what's it up to now? 351. Still 30% of people thought I was going to like it, and 70% of people thought I was not going to be like, I was not going to like it. I think that for me, again, I want to watch it again. I need to watch it again. It's a movie I'd like to watch again. But I would say that because I want to see, some things maybe I missed. But yeah, if there's one thing that I would, ding the film on, or, that maybe I would have done it a bit differently, certainly. The main thing I would have done a bit differently would have been I might have had the characters maybe more in love from the beginning. And there we see the tragic nature of that. Now, you can flip the coin on that and say, well, but it works the way it does because she needs to learn through this process how much she really does love him, right? I mean, there's many ways you can tell a love story or, work the couple angle, which is, you can have them already in love and we see the downfall, and that's tragic. You can see them sort of at odds with each other. And this is what they were going for, at odds with each other, kind of estranged, working hard. You get the sense they're living separate lives. They try to reconnect going to this cabin, but things are kind of cold, and then he begins to get taken away and she realizes how much she loves him and doesn't want him to die. That's great. And that can work really well. The problem is it still felt cold when she was professing, again, her love and, is daddy going to be okay? Like that girl should have been on her knees bawling. The daughter, daddy, no, daddy, don't touch him. No, don't touch dad. Don't take me away from daddy. No. And she just walks up to him and touches his ugly face and the forehead. And I get it. These are minor little things really at the end of the day. But they can add up. And I think if there's one area that I do understand with what some people were saying, I get that. It is character-wise in terms of the dynamic and the relationship, and you as an audience member being able to connect and live vicariously through the situation that's going on and wanting to be able to connect with those characters. It's a little cold. It is a little the dynamic and the situation, again, them with each other, it's a bit cold. It's a bit emo. It's a bit cold. Now it works, with the whole movie in a sense, because the whole movie is quite cold and dystopian and eerie and creepy. But I would say that out of everything, that is probably the only thing that I can think of right now, after seeing the movie last night, that I felt that maybe I would have done differently. But folks, listen, overall, the people that say Wolfman is a piece of shit, Wolfman is a dumpster fire, Wolfman is the worst movie they've ever seen. Yeah, and there's people out there saying that. People saying that Wolfman is Leigh Whannell's worst movie. If that's his worst movie, he's doing pretty good. If Wolfman is Leigh Whannell's worst movie, he's doing pretty good. I just can't get behind it. I can't agree. I can't get behind those that tend to go to the extreme. Even if that's truly how you feel, if it really is how you feel, I mean, I can't take that away from you, but I'm sorry. I just don't think you've seen enough really bad movies. If you think, well, you don't have to like Wolfman, maybe it didn't work for you. Maybe your expectations were just way too high. Maybe you were expecting more werewolf than Wolfman. Maybe you were, I don't know what it is. Wherever your expectations were, they just didn't hit with you. And that's totally cool. And you could say, yeah, it just didn't work for me. I'm not a fan. But to say that it's a piece of garbage is okay. You've lost me. I'm sorry, you've just lost me. We've all seen garbage movies. Wolfman's not a garbage movie. I actually quite liked it a lot. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Hate to say it, folks. Sorry to disappoint the 70% of you, but I really enjoyed it. I did. Maybe I'll have more to say on it when I see it again, but those are my first impression thoughts on Leigh Whannell's Wolfman. Folks, listen, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Wolfman and anything I had to say here today. Let's jump over to the chat room and see what all of you are saying. And I want to hear from those who have seen Wolfman. A super chat did come in from Edward Nito. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. My Godzilla brother from another mother says, I enjoyed the film. The face of the wolf was pretty good iteration of the Wolfman story. There were also some images in the background that you'd miss because they're not linked with a sting. I agree. Yeah, no, it's and I love the shot when he's in the house and he's crouched beside his daughter. Oh, that was so good. Like the way they use light and shadow and the darkness and you know, it was just great. You know, I love single location horror movies like that. They can be so much fun. Woo! Thirsty. I was talking a lot. Simon Mills says, sorry, Dave, didn't like The Invisible Man or The Wolfman. Felt he missed the point on both poor movies. Well, Simon, I categorically disagree with you that The Invisible Man is a poor movie. We do not share the same views on that, but that's too bad you didn't like it. That's too bad. Let me see here. Warren Armour says, I thought Wolfman used suspenseful elements very well. The acting was so good. A refreshing, good old-fashioned horror picture show. Good job. Yeah, you know, and yeah, you know, I think we as, and this is really, you know, a problem too because of the internet, but sometimes it's okay when things are just good. Not everything's got to be a 10 out of 10. Like, I'd probably give Wolfman, after seeing it for the first time, I don't know, maybe like a 7.5 maybe, you know? It might creep up a little bit. That's a good score. There are too many people that live on either end of the spectrums. And when you live on either end of the fandom spectrums, where something has to be a 10 or a shit, like, let's not forget, folks, we do live in a world in fandom where people who give 8 out of 10 scores, there are people that think an 8 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 is, I guess it's not, Like, we actually live in that world. So no wonder, like, everybody's going into a movie expecting to have their life changed or to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes it's just okay to watch, that was pretty good, I enjoyed that. Because most movies are not going to change your life. Most movies are not going to reinvent the wheel. Most movies you will not walk away from thinking it was one of the greatest cinematic pieces of movie history of all time. It rarely happens. Sometimes it's okay to just watch, that was good, I enjoyed that. And Wolfman is right there. I think I enjoyed the Invisible Man more. Because again, I think the characters, you know, we connected. There's the characters are warmer, so we connect with the characters a bit more. But I thought Wolfman was good. Like, I didn't walk away thinking it was, you know, amazing. Like, it's gonna change the face of horror. But I mean, these people that are just, you know, they get online and they're just like, it's a piece of shit. I'm just like, you're a piece of shit. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. Everybody relax. Let me see here. Josh McKenna sends a $9.99. Thank you, Josh. Says, the thing I admire about you is your honesty. Despite the mixed reviews, you are not afraid to share your thoughts. No matter if it's Avatar, Barbie, or Wolfman, you share your true thoughts. I do, of course. Yeah, I'm an unabashed Avatar fan. I liked Barbie, and I liked Wolfman. So I couldn't care less if anybody agrees with me or not. I will never pander. I won't, because I can't do that. I can't fake that. You know, I'm too much of a you know, I'm a filmmaker, yes, but I'm too much of a movie guy, you know, to fake liking something. I'm sorry. I really love Avatar. I think it's great. I think it's a great film. I'm not blind to the fact of what it is. I'm not saying it's the greatest piece of science fiction, you know, cinema of all time. I'm not saying it's this cerebral, you know, philosophical giant in the world of horror. No, we know what it is. but it's fucking great. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I don't care if people don't, agree with me. So same thing with Barbie. Same thing with Wolfman. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very good. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that very, very much. Movie Fan says, I saw the movie, Dave. It was okay. A lot of small burn parts throughout. A small burn? Maybe me boring? Oh, I didn't find the movie boring at all. I found it quite, but again, right, listen, every movie fan is different, right? We know that. Every movie fan is different. There are movie fans that are like me, that enjoy more, generally speaking, enjoy more of the cerebral, elevated, or, more of the psychological, moody, atmospheric, taking that slow burn, that build. That doesn't mean I can't like a great popcorn fart, slasher film too, of course, but those are the movies that I'll generally be more attracted to. And then there are fans that are on the opposite side that say, you know what? I can like a movie like you that like a slow burn, psychological, maybe, like Hereditary from time to time too. But my jam is, no, I'm more slasher, blood, guts, and gore, Terrifier, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Elm Street, more, get to the point, blood, guts, whatever the case. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a room for everybody at the table, right? But every fan is different. And so I'm not saying you're like this. I'm just saying that there will be movie fans that go and watch Wolfman that don't want a slow burn. They want, after 20 minutes, they want to see the Wolfman. And they don't even want to see a Wolfman. They want to see a werewolf. They want, you know what I'm saying? That's what they want to see. They don't want to see any man in there. They want to see werewolf, and they want to see a werewolf tearing shit up. They want to see blood and carnage and spill and, and that's what they want. And then there are people like me that really appreciated what Leigh Whannell did, taking you on a journey. Every movie fan is different. Every horror fan is different. And that's just the nature of the beast, right? That's just the nature of it. Robert Kitzmiller says, I feel like people are having a hard time accepting these new adaptations, stretching the themes and taking creative liberties, and just want what we've come to expect. Well, there's definitely that, right? I mean, we are definitely creatures of habit. We like routine. That definitely is true. And, there is, and so when people take creative liberties a little bit, it tends to rub certain people the wrong way. It's true. Now, again, I mean, I have no emotional attachment to the old Universal monster movies. I mean, I've seen that Wolfman movie, but probably not in 30 years. And so I have no emotional attachment. I've never seen, the Benicio del Toro one. I obviously have seen An American Werewolf in London and The Howling and even that 1994 or 5 movie Wolf with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer. I've seen my fair share of Wolfman movies. But I don't have an emotional attachment. I'm not like, so when I saw Wolfman, I enjoyed it. I just really like Leigh Whannell's horror directing sensibilities. It's like if I was given the script to Wolfman, I can't say that I wouldn't have made the same movie. Now, again, obviously, I would have given the film my voice. I have a different voice than Leigh Whannell, but I just mean in terms of like the style of it, right? Like it would have been a similar feeling movie. My characters probably would have been warmer, and I would have taken a bit of a different direction with, our leads. But just in terms of the style and the creative choices he makes and just, I resonate with that. And anytime I can watch a movie directed by a filmmaker who's directing a horror movie that I really resonate with, it's just great. It's just great. Yeah. It's really cool. It's really cool. But there are some people that just want carnage and death, and it's unfortunate. All right, did I get all the super chats? I haven't missed any, right? I just want to make sure. It was just the two. Yes, it was just the two that came in. Okay. I want to make sure because the chat's going by here. I didn't want to miss anything. Let me see here. JBeach2078 says, do you think since they carry the names of iconic films, Wolfman, Invisible Man, etc. They have an unfair stigma of being compared to the OG films right out of the gate. Yes, I do. Yes, I think, but I wouldn't say it's unfair. I would say it's totally fair. But, you know, it's not 1930. It's not 1940. It's not 1950. You know, it's 2025. And so naturally these movies are going to be made for a modern audience, right? And so, you know, with modern sensibilities and with a modern director. And, you know, there's like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think perhaps, but I wouldn't say it's totally unfair. I'd say it's fair to, like, you don't want the movie to completely remove the DNA. You know, all of a sudden he looks more like a giraffe than he does a wolf, you know, or, you know, like, but I don't think that happened. He didn't look canine like an American Werewolf in London, but he still looked like a Wolfman. You know, he had the jaw and the teeth and, you know, he looked sort of more like, you know, where like it was an American Werewolf in London transformation, but only like halfway, right? Because when you watch the American Werewolf in London transformation, it's a long way of saying that. But you know, there's a point during the transformation where he kind of looks like a wolf man, right? And then it goes that one step further and all of a sudden, okay, now he's like full on fucking werewolf, right? He's like he's way more dog than he is man, right? But there's that moment where there's that, you know, there's that, wolf man. Okay. Yeah. He's totally wolf man there. And now, you know what I'm saying? And to me, watching Wolfman, that's what it looked like. It just looked like, yeah, you take the transformation to the point of wolf man. I mean, let's not forget, man is in the title. So at no point was I shocked or disappointed or upset that he still looked like a man. I mean, it's in the title of the movie, you know, and I know that those terms are tossed around interchangeably. I get that. But there is a difference, and I looked it up. And it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense that I think, not everybody, but I think what some people were expecting were more werewolf than wolfman. And I think that probably kind of took them out of it, perhaps. I'm not sure. Ethan LeBlanc sends in a member chat. Thank you, Ethan. Says, Dave, can't stick around for the show while it's live, but we'll watch later. You're the man. Keep the rack out of the cough. That's it. Stay sharp. Thank you, Ethan. Follows up with a super chat and says, and Happy New Year. A little late, I know. Yep, but have a great new year of some hopefully great cinema. Thank you, Ethan. I appreciate that. Happy New Year to you as well. Let me see here. BTT says, as a creature designer myself, I like the concept, but I think the design could have been pushed a little further. Yeah, they could have. I guess they could have, right? But I think maybe they were wanting to avoid that werewolf and keep it a little more wolfman. But yeah, maybe they could have pushed it a little further. But I thought it was great. I thought that you know what they did was good. But again, I think there were a lot of people that perhaps went into this wanting just more werewolf, wanting to see more dog, and they were disappointed. And that's okay. But it's not. Look, I think, and I say this, I think Wolfman is just as competently made, just as expertly crafted as The Invisible Man. I think it is eerie and creepy. And I, at least at this moment, I like The Invisible Man more, but I would never go as far to say that Wolfman is a complete and catastrophic failure in comparison to The Invisible Man. I just think that I can't take somebody that's just, it's way too hyperbolic. I just don't know where it just feels, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But I just, for me, I just can't take you seriously. I just think it's way too hyperbolic, but that's me. Let me see here. Evil Alex says, it's not unfair if you do a Batman film. You better deliver on the Batman part. Same for Wolfman. Well, they did. They did deliver on the Wolfman. They gave you a wolf man, right? They gave you a wolf man. Because if you think about it, if the like, again, take an American Werewolf in London. That's not a wolf man. That's a werewolf. There's no man there. I mean, when you look at what he looks like, right? Like the final transformation, there's no man there. I mean, it looks like a monster. It just looks like a bipedal. There's no man, like maybe the bipedal sort of thing, you get a little bit of a man there, but there's no man, right? That's a werewolf, right? And so, but when you look at Wolfman, that's a Wolfman. You know, again, I mean, maybe some might think I'm grasping at straws or I'm splitting hairs, but there is a distinct difference. And when you look it up and you read about it, it was clear to me, that this is a Wolfman. That's what man is in the title. So he has to look like a man because it's a Wolfman, right? It's like, saying, I don't know, bear man. He can't look just like a bear. He's got to look like a man. There's got to be a sense of a man in there as well as a bear, right? Or take any animal, right? Wolfman, he kind of looks a little bit like, to what BTT said. Could they have pushed it a little further? Maybe. But I was okay with what they did. But they can't go as far as werewolf because then it's not a Wolfman. It's a Wolfman in the sense of that it was once a man. Okay, sure. Okay. But if you didn't know that, you wouldn't know that. So you would, because all you would see is just some crazy monster that looks like a wolf on steroids or something, right? Whereas this, like when I see the dad coming up to the house and broke into the house and he's running all around, I'm like, that's a Wolfman. Because I can see the man and I can see the wolf. And so to me, Evil Alex, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I think, and I'm not saying that you disagree with me. I'm just using your comment as an overall point. I think that they did deliver on it. They did. The funny thing is, though, had they delivered on the werewolf part, nobody would have batted an eye. Nobody would have been like, oh, that's not a wolf, man. No, people would have, and that's because it's used so interchangeably, right? But anyway, I digress. Let me see. Johnny Diamond says, the movie from the 70s, Grizzly, was pretty crazy, Dave. Have you ever seen it before? I have not. I have not seen it. What's the time here? 58 minutes. All right, well, that's not bad. We'll go a little longer. Steve Ross sends in a member chat. Says, I haven't seen the movie yet, Dave. I wanted to have your opinion on it before I see it. Shouldn't have done that. I'll keep an open mind when I see it. But now you can't. Steve, my man, Steve. There's nothing wrong with, I appreciate you watching. But I went into such great detail here that, and that's part of the problem too with today's, society, right? Is that we know so much about a movie or what people think of a movie before we even go see it. But keep an open mind. You never know. Geeked Out Turtle Fan says, Dave, the biggest problem with werewolf movies now is too much CGI. Good example is An American Werewolf in Paris. 2010, Wolfman did all right, balancing the two. Yeah, I still haven't seen the Benicio del Toro one from 2010. I did see, and I have, did I see An American Werewolf in Paris? I can't remember. I can't remember. But I do know that it was not nearly as revered as the others. Let me see here. Kenny Pham says they want a Michael Jackson Thriller type movie, but Michael Jackson's Thriller was a music video. People wanted a, really? No, not sure. Let me go back here. Just want to see what people are saying. Dean Renner says, I get annoyed with people who have to constantly be on one side of the spectrum as if the area in between a 1 and a 10 doesn't exist. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a little frustrating. And again, I think that it's just hyperbolic. There's just so many. Anyways, I'm going to go off on a tangent about that. I don't need to do that. I agree, Dean. I agree. I don't need to go off on a tangent about that. Let me see here. Johnny Diamond says, I've got Huntington's disease, Dave, so my short-term memory is shot. So by the time Wolfman comes on Peacock, I'll have forgotten your review. Well, I guess that's one way to look at it. One good positive. Bernie Gumbano says, Wolfman in the Monster Squad was always cool to me. Yep. That's true. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about the Monster Squad. That's right. Scared Straight Productions says, Dave, are you going to check out the Michael Jackson movie when it comes out? The trailer was shown back in April, but we have yet to see it. Yeah, I think it was shown at CinemaCon or something. I won't go to the theater to see it. No, I don't think unless it just looks phenomenal. But no, I probably won't go to the theater to see it. I'll watch it when it comes to streaming, though. Let me see here. I'm trying to look for some more Wolfman comments. Scrolling back. Well, PTT says something I do agree with. People are spoiled by entertainment, so they expect everything to be 100% perfect. And when something doesn't blow their socks off, they think it sucks automatically. It's true. It is true. Oh, I've had people even say that about, my own films, right? The Billy films. I've had people, this is garbage, it's trash. It's like, listen, I can't take, if you want me to take your review seriously, I can't take you seriously, calling my movies absolute trash. You may not like them. They're not trash. But that's the nature of it, right? Listen, the internet is a wonderful place. It's very cool that we can all have, but unfortunately you get people who don't know their ass from their elbow come on board. All right. Well, I thought it would be a little more lively tonight in a discussion with Wolfman, but not so much. Maybe it's because a lot of people still haven't seen it. That could also be part of the problem. Dean Renner says, Dave, in your opinion, is Wolfman worth the price of admission for the theater experience? I'd like to go, but I'm slightly on the fence. Well, the first question is, Dean, why are you on the fence? Is it because you've been paying attention to negative reviews? Listen, I don't know. I don't know you, Dean, so I don't know. Like, for me, it was, right? I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I don't know what your expectations are and what you're expecting. If you're expecting an American Werewolf in London, well, then the answer would be no. If you're expecting this high octane bloodbath of werewolf kills, well, then the answer would be no, right? If you're expecting, but if you're like me and really enjoy Leigh Whannell's horror directing sensibilities and mood and atmosphere and slow burn and just, everything I've said here today, I don't know if you've been in since the beginning, but everything I've said here today, well, then it absolutely is worth the price of admission. You'll probably walk out of there feeling at least similar to what I did. So it's not a one size fits all. That's kind of how when somebody says, should I go see it? I'm like, well, I don't know. What should you? What do you like? Right? I've even had people say, have reached out to me and said, not so much in these words, but to the effect of, should I watch your movies? Or I haven't watched your, Billy films yet, but should I, don't, or I'm going to, don't worry, or something like that. And I often say, well, you don't have to. I mean, you don't like, it might not be for you. If you don't like slow burns, if you don't like Black Christmas, chances are you're not going to like my Billy films, right? If you thought Black Christmas was boring, and you're probably not going to like because they're sequels to that movie, right? And it lives and breathes, in that world, right? But it's slow burn. It's more psychological and mood and atmosphere. And that's what Wolfman is. You know what I mean? And it's, I thought Wolfman was really good. I don't think it's amazing. Like, it's one of the best horror movies I've ever seen, but I don't think it's anywhere near the disaster that the world of online movie fandom would lead you to think it is. I'm sorry. I think it is a really great theater experience, but you got to see it in the right theater, of course, right? You know what I mean? Go see it in an IMAX or a Dolby AVX or, whatever they have in the States too. But in a great theater and just remember, not every movie's got to blow your socks off, right? Not every movie's got to be a 10. Sometimes really good movies, fun movies, and great theater experiences are 7 out of 10s. That's not a bad score. Like, since when did a 7 out of 10 become a bad score? No, it's a shitty score. Since when did a 70%, which I know Wolfman does not have, but since when did a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes become shit? That means 7 out of every 10 people liked it. If I made a horror movie that had 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'd be pretty happy. That means 7 out of every 10 people that watched, 7 out of every 10 critic that watched my movie liked it, right? That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I know Wolfman does not have that. I haven't read the critic reviews from Wolfman on Rotten Tomatoes, so I really have no idea what they're saying. But I enjoyed it, Dean. I enjoyed it. So if you're anything like me, I say yes, because I think you'll enjoy it. But if you're not like me, then maybe, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe you won't. I don't know. But it's a great little horror movie. It's a great creature feature, little like spooky horror movie. I think it's great. Yeah, when I say it's great, when I say I think it's great, that's just me saying I liked it. Like, I thought it was good. Maybe I shouldn't use the word great because people think, they take that to mean that it's amazing, but I thought it was good. If I had made Wolfman, despite some of the backlash, if I had made Wolfman as like my first feature or something like that, or whatever the case was, or if I had made Wolfman, I'd be very happy with it. I'd be like, hey, I think this shows I've got some talent. Anyway, that's me. All right. Well, Steve Ross says, I don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes. That's good. Yeah. Never do that. Like I've said this before, but I might do a video on this at some point, where I encourage people to just, like an exercise, like once a week, or once a month, depending on how often you watch movies, but to go to Netflix, go to Hulu, go to Prime, Paramount Plus, wherever you go to watch movies. Maybe not Paramount Plus, because most of the things on there you've probably heard of, but go to like Prime or Netflix that have deep, deep catalogs and find a movie that you've never heard of, that the little blurb that's written about it really intrigues you. Maybe you recognize an actor, maybe not. Don't then go to Rotten Tomatoes. Don't then go to Wikipedia. Don't look up the movie. Don't watch a trailer. Don't do anything. Just read the blurb. If it sounds really intriguing, right? Just fucking hit that play button. I'm dating myself. Hit the remote, sit back and watch the movie. And just take it for what it is. Nobody's telling you what they think about it. You don't know if anybody likes it. You don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. I'm serious. I really want people, I'm going to do a video on this. I really want people to do this because I think it's a really cool exercise. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've watched a movie having done that. And then I'm like, wow, I really enjoyed that. And then I go and look at the Rotten Tomatoes score and it's like 28%. And I'm like, wow, so many people didn't enjoy that. I'm like, but had I not done that, had I looked it up, watched a trailer, watched some people talk about it, read some of the reviews, looked at the audience scores, had I done that and then watched the movie, I might have been preconditioned to go, yeah, no, I totally see what they're saying. Yep. Oh, there's that thing people were talking about. Yeah, it's crap. Yep, that was shit. I agree with everybody. I agree. And it's like, yeah, but you went in, even if you don't think you're going in with that kind of bias, you're going in with that kind of thing, right? I just noticed when I started talking about that, we lost 20 people in the chat room. Come on, you lazy bastards. Come on. Do it. No, I don't want to do it. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it then. I love you guys. I'm just busting your balls. But I really do want you to do that because it's really cool. That's how I discovered The Ritual. You guys have seen The Ritual, right? The 2018, 2017? I just read the blurb. I had never heard of it. I'd never seen a trailer. Didn't look it up. I just read the blurb and I was like, oh, a bunch of friends go backpacking in the area. Ooh, that's creepy. I'm down. You down? I'm down. You guys want? I'm down. And it's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Now, it actually does have, I think, a good rating. That's how I discovered Incident in a Ghostland. You know, now sometimes you'll watch a movie and you'll go, yeah, kind of a stinker. You know what I mean? I mean, that's going to happen too, right? Because not everything can be a hit. But it wouldn't surprise me if you watched a movie that by doing this exercise, it wouldn't surprise me if you... Evil Alex says the 20 people did go to Netflix now. Maybe that's it. Maybe they did. But it wouldn't surprise me if you watched movies you loved that most people seem to hate, and you watched movies that you hated, not hated, but you know what I mean? You watched a movie and you're like, it's not for me. And then you go and you realize, holy shit, a lot of people really like this movie. And it's a sociological experiment. Right? How much are we influenced, even if you don't realize it, just by sitting here listening to me today, going to watch Wolfman, whether you think you can leave that at the door, you can't. You can't. Sociologically and it's now in your subconscious, right? That is what the subconscious is. You don't realize it, right? So it's now in your subconscious. So you cannot have a pure experience. The only way you can have a pure experience is not paying attention and just going to see Wolfman. Right? Even I didn't have a pure experience because I was aware of what some people were saying about it. And I realized that's difficult to avoid today online. I realize that. But if you can limit that, like when a big movie is coming out that you want to see, if you can limit that, it's hard to avoid, but if you can limit it, and then go see the movie, it wouldn't surprise me that there's probably going to be a lot of movies that you love that people don't like and that you like that people don't love. And that's just because, I think today's culture and today's society, we are programmed to like or dislike a movie sometimes before it's even shot, right? I mean, there are channels on, YouTube that make their living by bashing movies that haven't even gone into production yet. They've just been announced. Well, how can a movie have a fair chance when these channels are telling you to fucking hate something that hasn't even been shot, right? And so that's just the culture we live in. And again, back in the old days, when there was no internet, like I said, I've mentioned this a few times now, but it's cool. Like, it's just I would love to hear from people who do this. I think that might be a cool show. I'd love to hear from people who do this, or maybe you just do it. Maybe it's just something you naturally do. Because I know it can be hard to watch movies that you're not familiar with, right? Because we want to know what to expect. We want to at least have heard of the movie, maybe recognize an actor, watch a trailer, because we don't want to waste our time, right? But if you can just buckle down and just find a movie that sounds interesting and watch it, you'll be surprised how many movies you discover that way. The old school way, right? And there's so many amazing movies out there that are not tentpole films, that are indie films, or whatever the case is. I mean, I watched a movie not too long ago. I forget the name of it now, but it was an indie film. I think they're doing a sequel on it, about this group of people that get together at a party, and then they leave to go across the street, but they come back, but they're different people, but they don't know they're different people. Somebody might be able to, just by that, somebody might in the chat room may know the movie I'm talking about. If you know it and you say it, I'll know it instantly. I think it starts with a C, I think. Anyway, I had never heard of this movie. Never heard of it. This is like a year or two ago. Never heard of it. I just read the blurb. It's on Netflix. I read the blurb and I was like, that sounds interesting. Conscience? No. I forget. Anyway, I hit, play, watched it, thought it was really good. Didn't recognize any actors, nothing. It's just cool. It's a cool way of discovering films, rather than just always, leaning into the, not just the tentpole films, but films that we're familiar with, right? Films that we're familiar with. And like I said, there's some movies that I watch that have really bad Rotten Tomatoes scores. They do. And from both critics and audience. And I will watch it and I'm like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily blow me away, but I'll sit back and I was like, okay, if I had to give this movie a positive or negative score, would I give it a positive or a negative? And I'm like, I'd give it a positive score. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. That's how I feel on it. Right. It's cool. It's cool. So try doing that. Simon Mills says, well, you said you like Barbie and then I watched it and I didn't like it. Your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me, Dave. That's okay, Simon. I mean, you also don't like The Invisible Man. And so, there's a lot of people that don't like Barbie, especially men. I quite enjoyed Barbie. Because, when Barbie came out, there was the whole, and I don't want to take away because everybody's experience is different. Everybody feels different about it. But one of the stupidest arguments I saw from, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, when Barbie came out, one of the stupidest arguments I saw about why they didn't was the whole, feminine, girl power. There was some wokeness in there too, of course, but all this kind of thing. And they were, they'd spend like 15 minutes tearing it apart as if they're perplexed and surprised it's in there. And like I've said on this channel, it's fucking Barbie. This isn't G.I. Joe. What did you expect from Barbie? Of course it's be about feminism and girl power and rah. What did you expect? It's Barbie. I didn't go in there. I got what I expected. What I got was the reason why I liked Barbie was because I thought that the set design was great. I thought the performances were great. And yeah, I laughed. I was able to laugh at myself. I was able to laugh at how they poked fun at men, and I know in today's climate with the whole woke thing, that's a very hot topic for some people, so much so that people lose friends and family members over it. And I'm not here to say that I'm pro woke. I'm not. I'm just saying that I was able to see the irony, and there was some funny moments where I laughed out loud. And I thought I enjoyed myself. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a silly, funny. And I think the reason why, as I've said this before, when it comes to Barbie, the reason why the preachy wokeness in Barbie didn't bother me was because the whole movie is satirical. The whole movie is satire. The whole movie is not to be taken seriously. It's a fucking gigantic Barbie. She comes to life. It's satire. So it's over the top. It's stylized. It's colorful, and it's almost like something Baz Luhrmann would do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and I think that's why for me it worked. When I say it worked, I mean it didn't bother me. I chuckled. I laughed. You know, were there things that were on the nose? Sure. But because the whole movie is just one big acid trip, it didn't bother me. I didn't go, I feel emasculated. It's Barbie. What are you doing going to see that movie and walking out and huffing and puffing that you feel emasculated? It's Barbie, bruh. What did you expect? What else did you expect? Lord of the Rings? Anyway. So I was able, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I was able to take it for what it was. Now, had it been a serious film, right? Like a very serious movie, and it doesn't matter, a drama, horror movie, you know, whatever, but it's a serious film. It's not satirical over the top. A serious movie. And they were being very uber virtue signaling, woke, you know, preachy, all that, like Black Christmas 2019, then yeah, I would have been like, okay, guys, like pull it back, like Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? Yes, then I would have been like that. Then I would have taken issue because it's taking me out of it. It's like you stop the movie to deliver this message. And when you stop the movie to deliver a message, it's not organic. You're just beating me over the head. You know what I'm saying? It's not a movie. It's a political message with a movie attached to it. And that's not, you know, you're doing yourself a disservice when you're, you know, all that kind of, so those things I take issue with, because I don't feel it's properly, it doesn't feel genuine to me. Right. But Barbie, guys, it's Barbie. It's Barbie. It's Barbie. All right, folks. Let's end on something else. Bobby Hall says, Dave, are you talking about the movie Coherence? Yes, that's it, Bobby. Thank you. Yes, Coherence. I saw that years ago. Don't remember it too well. Yes. A little low budget, independent movie. I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not. I'm not 100% sure. But I was doing that one night. I was sitting down, I was watching, or I was thumbnail surfing, as I like to call it, right? Thumbnail surfing. And I saw the thumbnail and I clicked on it, and because Coherence, I kind of piqued my interest. I read the blurb and I was like, oh, I've never heard of this movie ever. I don't recognize anybody that's in it. At least I don't think I did. And the premise sounded intriguing. I didn't go to Rotten Tomatoes, which I think it actually has a really good score on Rotten Tomatoes, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't go to Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't go to Wikipedia. I didn't go to YouTube and watch a trailer. I didn't do anything. I just went, okay, play. I just started watching the movie. And I loved it. I love the concept. Again, it's cerebral, high concept, you know, but it's low budget indie film, really, really well done. I thought they were doing a sequel to it, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're doing a sequel to it, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, yes, Coherence, Bobby. Yeah. Good movie. Oh yeah, people talking about TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but I have to laugh at the whole, well, I don't want to offend any TikTok users out there, but I you know, I mean, the way some people were reacting when it came back online was like, you know, it was off for, I mean, you'd think it would have been off for like a year. It was off for like 12 hours. Like, you know, you went to bed and you woke up, it was back on again. I mean, it's just, you know, I understand that for some gigantic TikTokers, I guess it's their livelihood, but I just thought it was really funny. Bobby Hall says Coherence is free with a Prime or Peacock subscription. Well, there you go. There you go. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it was Prime where I saw it. I thought it was Netflix, but it could have been Prime. It could have been Prime. It could have been Prime. I'm not sure. Maybe. Let me see. A few more minutes and then we will call it a day, folks. We'll call it a day. Warren Armour says, I think I liked Barbie so much. Oh, cool. Is because I like the 90s Saturday Night Live. Cool. Well, Warren, I appreciate you being honest. Yeah. Listen, I don't think Barbie's like one of the greatest movies of all time. I'm not saying I'm like this huge Barbie fan. I'm just not afraid as a man, because I know it's not popular. And I know the whole woke topic and everything, like I said, it's very touchy. And like I said, there's a lot of, listen, I agree. A lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that when I take it at face value, I saw it in the theater. And I chuckled. I had a good time. I got lost in the world building and the surreal nature of it. And it was just the silliness and the, I'm Knuff. It's just it's just funny. I didn't take it so seriously because it's Barbie. It didn't offend me as a man because it's Barbie. You know what I mean? So, anyways, but that's me. That's me, that's how it is. Coherence is free on Tubi. There you go. It's free on Tubi. I'm not surprised. Yeah, watch it, guys. Watch it. I think if you like cerebral films, read about it, read the premise, and check it out. I think it's, I thought they were doing a sequel to it. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought they were doing a sequel to it, but I'm not sure. I forgot to show. Yeah, by the way, those of you that ordered It's Me Billy Chapter 2 hoodies, I'm wearing one, and that's what it's going to look like. Oh, wait. Yeah, there you go, folks. There you go. Really nice. Really great quality. The hood's really great and everything, too. So they just came in not long ago, so we're getting them prepped and ready to be sent off. The hoodies and the T-shirts. So we're still picking away at that. Bernie Gambano says, maybe I'll give that movie a shot. Yeah, you can check it out. Like, again, if you like more cerebral things, eerie, creepy, dimensional, kind of like, it's good. I think you're going to, now, it's low budget indie film, but it's good. It's good. And, one could say maybe it's a little highbrow, but I quite enjoyed it. I really like the premise of it. You know what I mean? I thought it was really good. I thought they were making a sequel, but I'm not sure. I know lots of people that don't do TikTok. I've been asked if I'm going to do TikTok, and I'm like, listen, I've got Twitter, I've got Facebook, I've got Instagram. TikTok, I don't think I'll do TikTok. I really don't. I really don't. Got YouTube, of course, as well. Nice. Bernie says, I like all the low budget, creepy highbrows. Yes, Bernie, my man, Bernie. Loving it. Loving it. Loving it. Bernie and I eat out of the same popcorn bag. Oh, wait a minute. That would be kind of weird. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. That's funny. Evil Alex says, well, most men have enough of bashing man films, so even a satire comedy like Barbie didn't land in this climate for a man. Well, exactly, because it's not for men, right? It's Barbie, right? It's Barbie. So the point I'm trying to make is that if you're a man that goes and watches Barbie and are offended by Barbie, that's on you because it's Barbie. It's not for you, right? It's a Barbie movie, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that I think there's bigger fish to fry. I think, look, I'm not going to get deep into it, but I do think there is an issue with, some inauthentic virtue signaling and wokeness and all these. Yes, I do think there is an issue there. For sure, there is. That doesn't mean everything we think is woke, because there's lots of things that people say are woke that are not woke. They just don't like whatever it is. But I just think it's Barbie, right? So, I mean, why am I going to get up? It's Barbie, right? I mean, yeah, like I just think there's other movies and other examples where energy is better spent on fighting the fight. If you want to fight the fight, that's how I feel about it. I thought Barbie was funny. I don't think it's amazing. I just thought I laughed. What can I say? Steve Evans says, Dave, are you a fan of Coppola's Dracula? I really like that one. The Bram Stoker's one from 92. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember liking it. I'd have to go back and watch it again. But because again, I probably haven't seen it since the 90s. It's not one of those things that I watch on the regular. I'm not a big vampire Dracula person, even like a Universal Monsters. I'm not, I watch them, but I'm not like, you know what I mean? And so I haven't seen Bram Stoker's Dracula probably in like 30 years. And so it's been a long time. But I remember liking it when I watched it. So yeah. Okay, what's the time? Oh, we're over time. All right, folks. Well, listen, that is going to do it for me here on this episode of McRae Live. I want to thank my moderators, of course, who tuned in tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you to the few super chats that came in, the non-super chats, the member chats. Really appreciate that as well. Listen, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Wolfman. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know your thoughts on Wolfman and anything I had to say here today, of course, in the comment section below. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight. Have a great rest of your Monday. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. All righty. In the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you soon.